Emotional reunions, a landmark moment decades in the making.
It's 23 years since the ban on LGBT people serving in the armed forces was lifted, and since then, those affected by that law have waited for today, an apology from the Prime Minister and an acknowledgement that what went on was wrong.
It came down to these simple but significant words.
Today, on behalf of the British state, I apologise.
Lord Etherton's report runs to 270 pages and includes the testimonies of those who were in some instances sexually assaulted by colleagues, blackmailed by lovers and harassed by investigators.
Well, I was actually stationed at Woolwich, and what happened was SIB came in and ransacked my room due to an allegation from a roommate, and then I was interrogated for 6 hours by SIB. Then I had to go and see a psychiatrist, who all they were interested in was what I got up to in bed with my girlfriend at the time.
Do you think there were investigators in the SIB or the military police back then who revelled in the opportunity of investigating your alleged crimes?
Yeah, they handled us like dogs. There's no two ways about it. Don't get me wrong, not all of them were, but the majority of them did.
The PM's words were followed in the Commons with what appeared to be genuine contrition from an outgoing Defence Secretary who, as a soldier, was able to progress professionally while LGBT personnel were not.
People of my age group who served in that old army, and I say old army because the part of the report that talks about institutional homophobia is true. You read it. I was part of that army. I was determined to give this statement today rather than my excellent colleague because I wanted to recognise that I had been part of that thinking and army that I deeply regret.
Other members spoke of their own experiences serving in the military under the ban. Conservative MP and former Royal Armoured Corps officer Crispin Blunt appeared close to tears.
I am just profoundly grateful. I now live in a society and under laws that allow me to be myself.
The report makes 49 recommendations, including the reinstatement of medals and the payment of compensation to those who were affected by investigations. The government has confirmed it agrees with all the recommendations in principle and will provide an update later in the year about the progress of their implementation. But, as the executive chairman of the charity at the centre of this long campaign told me, the speedy payment of the compensation announced in the report must be a priority for the government.
We've already lost people from this community. It's an ageing population, and that's one of the reasons why it's really important that we get reparations in place quickly so that this population of veterans live their lives in some degree of comfort, because they have lived their lives in isolation and loneliness with financial hardship, health and housing problems. So let's get that sorted now.
Life in the modern British military for those who are LGBT is markedly different from the sometimes horrific experiences detailed in Lord Etherton's report. With an apology on record from those at the very top and the promise of financial compensation, campaigners hope those impacted by these investigations and subsequent dishonourable and administrative discharges can finally begin to move on. James Wharton, Forces News, Westminster.